putting out power of, well, really a small car. That's the goal. It's going to be as powerful as a small car. What's going on, guys? Checking in after a bit of a break from posting videos, which I'm going to be amending soon. I've got a couple of Ducati videos actually from the backlogged archives I'm going to be putting up here in a little bit. But today I'm transitioning to working on this go-kart, which Inja's got a couple of videos that he's been posting at this point, but I wanted to start giving some behind-the-scenes content specifically related to some of the powertrain and electronic side of things. I didn't feel it was necessary really to give you guys a walkthrough of the roll cage build or any of the body work that I got going on. But I do want to bring you along for some of the technical parts of it, and specifically looking at some of the motors, batteries, controller setup, things of that sort. So we actually just finished filming the second video for the Inja's channel that he's posting up, and so I mocked up, he said, put everything in the place it's gonna go. So I mocked up what's going where, and it gives me a chance to walk you through the powertrain setup as a whole. In case you were not aware, the plan is to make this kind of look like a mini Lamborghini, a little mini supercar, with hopefully specifications that will match that appearance. So that's kind of the target here. We've got 4 Headway modules. They're the 38-120 cells, 8 amp hours each. It's 48 amp hours total, and it's running at 32S with the 2 on the sides, which is 102 volts nominal. They're lithium iron phosphate, so that's a 3.2 volt nominal cell. That is powering 2 Far Driver ND96850B controllers, which are good for 450 battery amps each, 850 phase amps each, powering the QS 8000 watt mid-drive motor. These are some nice thick 2-gauge cable with some relatively thin shielding, so they actually look thinner than they are, but they're a nice heavy gauge. And obviously you'll notice one is an alternate direction orientation to the one next to it, so we'll have to actually run one of these in reverse, whereas one of these will run forward. So we'll have to do a slight programming difference. They'll be identical, hopefully, except for one will be clicked a little box that says reverse motor or invert direction, whatever it looks like on this. I'm excited to walk through the programming of these. I haven't done Far Driver stuff yet, but I have seen some of the apps, and it actually looks like a pretty smooth, streamlined process for programming. What I'm gonna do with these Headway modules is run double 2-gauge cable in series between, and then through, I'm not sure if I'm gonna go through the tubes that are set up here or if I'm gonna just run it around the back on some of the body work that I build. I may just do that. Double 2-gauge wire to the next set of modules, and then, oh, these are on this side, route them through those gaps there. So we'll have one charge and one discharge coming off of opposite sides, right? So let's say we do the positive from this side. It's gonna then series with the negative to positive as we go down the line. So one of these will have a positive discharge and one of these will have a negative discharge coming off the back, which we'll have to then meet by running through. On the positive side, we'll have double contactors. These are 500 amps each. These are the modules here. They cost over $100. You get them new. You get it from Battery Hookup for 30-ish bucks each, I think it was, 20 or 30 bucks. Pretty good deal. And so we'll run 2 of these, 1 for each controller. So it's kind of natural to have it be doubled up. Obviously, I'm doubling it within in the pack for the sake of current capacity, but leading into the controllers, we'll double it up. And on that double up, we'll run 1 contactor per. And then on the negative, we'll run a shunt that I actually, and you can see I've got my setup here. I got my 3D printer. I'm gonna start designing and bringing more things into it from the 3D printer side. I designed a shunt holder because I always struggle to isolate these electrically. The only mounting points are conductive. So I've designed a 3D printable shunt holder. This is convenient because it allows 2 inputs, 2 outputs. So my doubled up negative discharge can run through here. We'll get a reading for our display, which I'm going to 3D print a display for all the gauges and things. But I thought that was pretty cool. That'd go on the negative discharge. It's not really a whole lot more to kind of go through than just that, but that's my initial plan. I got all the DC converters, all of that. I will have specific videos for the full content as it comes. I do want to note, though, that we are stuffing a lot of power through this. This car is going to be such fun to ride in. Exhilaration to the highest degree is kind of what I'm aiming for. I mean, it's going to be peak charge, peak output. It's like 93,000 watts before losses, but I would not be surprised if we ended up seeing 70,000 minimum watts coming out of this at full power for little brief bursts, which that's close to 100 horsepower output. And I would not be terribly surprised if it was a little bit higher than that. I know these motors are only rated at, like, I think the tests that they send always go up to like 32,000 watts, but they didn't stuff that much through it. We're stuffing more through it than they do. I think they only went up to like 300 or 350 on the amps that they put into it. So we should be able to get that a little higher, and with extra losses, sure, but get extra power out of it. The 12,000 watt motor that we had on the Ducati has a lower peak output than these 8,000 watt motors do. So the fact that these are labeled as 8,000 watt motors always baffles me a little bit, but they are, maybe because they're rated at 72 volts, that may be why it's a lower wattage output. We'll overvolt it, we'll stuff a little bit more current through it, and we'll get some real good power out of that. That's my goal. So I'll get you guys along the ride with behind the scenes stuff as we get more specific updates and we get into some of the more technical stuff. I'll do some time lapses and all the things that you expect from videos that I put out. But for now, I wanted to give you an overall plan, and you can't see it yet, but once the body work goes on and we get some of this stuff built out with the shelf coming forward, a little bit of a hood that comes off the front here, not too far, you know, little ways off the front. Don't want to make it any longer than it needs to be. It's going to be just the coolest looking little thing, but putting out power of, well, really a small car. That's the goal. It's going to be as powerful as a small car. Weighing in at 400, 450 pounds, somewhere in there, but putting out real power numbers. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. Until next time, I will catch you guys then and keep you along for the ride as we go throughout.